Hello and good night to my beautiful, beautiful fibers, friends, family, everybody who's listening in on the podcast tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Anisha, the host of the 5 Years of 40 podcast, and I am back for another Ready to Love review. So tonight we're doing episode 8 of season 5. And it is the case of the ex. In this episode, the men are introducing their suitor, the persons that they're interested in, to their ex. As Tommy says when he tells them about the assignment in the gentleman's lounge, he says, "You're as good as your last game." So they're gonna have these exes in here, giving the men some feedback on the women that they have selected. They're going to be meeting with them, and the exes can give them some expert advice to say, this is a female that you can handle, or this is a female you need to let go. It's a great change from last season when the ladies had to introduce their exes to the men. So I like that they're switching it up. I have to say I'm seeing a lot more equality on this season, which is one of the high points of this season. So the first people that we see is Cornelius. And Cornelius is introducing Crazy Camille to his very pretty ex. First of all, Cornelius has a really nice home, and he has on his wall this tribal art piece of himself, a self-portrait. It's a little strange. And at the beginning of this, I said that Cornelius was giving me a little batting for the other team vibes. And I mean, I don't judge anybody. It's good for him. But something about the artwork kind of triggered that memory for me. Now, I believe if you like yourself, nothing wrong with putting yourself on the wall. But something about it just kind of gave me that kind of vibe. So anyhow, we're not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss him introducing Crazy Camille to his ex. So his ex, first of all, guys, she's really gorgeous in a girl next door kind of thing. She has beautiful natural hair. She wears them in a twist, long twist. She's homely, and not in a negative way. I'm not trying to say this in a negative way. She is homely. She has a nice warm disposition, and she feels dependable and stable, and everything that Crazy Camille is in. And this lady just exudes a quiet confidence I really like. The ladies do not know that they're going to meet these exes. Camille is a little taken back. She walks in, and the first thing she's like, "Who's a shoe for?" Because there's not a pair of heels here, she says. And anyway, he introduces her. They have a good conversation. The ex seems very perceptive. Like I said, she takes Camille in. She does ask her some questions about the 3 former engagements that Camille has. Camille is very calm. This is the calmest I've seen her in the entire season. She, handles the questions well, and she says, well, all the other times I was just more interested in wearing the ring and giving it back. And now she's really ready for marriage, and she knows this is the one for her. But she was just calm. But we'll see how that goes. And when she leaves, she's like, well, how long is she going to be here for? But Cornelius lets her leave. And then when he's speaking to his ex says that Camille is, while she looks nice and all of that, she would want him to err on the side of caution and to take some time to get to know her better. She's like, if they have to make a decision right now today, she would be like, pump your brakes, bro. Don't go into it just yet, because Camille seems a little unstable and she give you these answers, but not an answer of somebody who knows for sure that they want to be with this person. And I agree, because in former seasons, when we were at this point where we're meeting the ex, the answers and the attitude of the people were a lot more solid. A lot of these singles are still searching and trying to couple up. They haven't had like definitive couples. as yet, and in earlier seasons by this point they did. So that was Camila and Cornelius. The second date is Shiloh, Tasia, and Phil. So Tasia came in second. So Tasia, so Shiloh, Phil, and his ex Jessica, I believe her name was. They were already seated and having this conversation. They seemed like they already had built up a nice little rapport, and then Tasia came late. But I think that Tasia has a little bit of insecurity about Shiloh. It could be because of her knowledge of how Shiloh threw Carrie under the bus, and she probably can't really stand Shiloh. Similarly, I don't really like Shiloh, but Shiloh is able to rein in her emotions. She has a very good check of her emotions, unlike Tasia. So Tasia is like a firecracker. She's like, oh, she didn't like when she came in. She didn't like where she sat. She should have been sitting next to Phil, and then Shiloh also sitting next to Phil, and the girl on the other side. And I'm like, but last week you had your friend sitting next to Phil, like if he was on an interview, sis. So calm down. And anyhow, she was up in arms from since she came, and she's like, she didn't like what the girl was asking her. So the ex was asking them some questions like, what are the things, what are their red flags, what are things that they feel might keep them from having a good relationship. And Tasia went ahead and said, I think I'm closed off, and sometimes I don't go with the flow of things. And I'm like, yeah, sis, this is true, but you need to draw the attention to it. Like, everybody at that table was feeling awkward because of the attitude that she was giving off, all this negative energy. And Tasia is a gorgeous woman, so I'm not sure where all that was coming from, apart from maybe she just didn't like Shiloh. But she's saying to the girl that she's guarded and closed off, and sometimes she doesn't go with the flow. And I'm like, well, that's wonderful that you're so self-aware, but that's a conversation for you and your therapist. Like, you don't need to bring it to a date. It is still a date. It needs to be light. It needs to be fun. You need to be fun. So if there's a flaw that you find you could share, when you and Phil are talking together, y'all can go through this, but something like that, just make up something light and laugh it off, and just work around it. But this heaviness that she came with was not good energy. Shiloh, like I said, was completely in charge. She was asking great questions, having good conversation, and she was leaning into the ex-girlfriend, so she kind of like they're friends already. And that's what you need, because that's what a guy wants, to feel as though you're not gonna come and stir up any trouble for him. Guys do not like having to deal with uncomfortable situations. They don't like having to be the bad guy. So if you are in a situation like this, don't create a drama before there is any drama. Like, either ways, Phil can choose either one of you, so don't make it more than it needs to be. But like I'm telling you, Shiloh, she just rolled on like if nothing was happening. She did not engage in any of Tasia's energy, and she and Tessica at the end of the night seemed like if they were fast friends. So Tasia got left out. The next day, interestingly, guys, Aisha wasn't there. Last week, Aisha introduced Phil to her friends. This week, Phil did not introduce Aisha to his ex. Dun, 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 dun. Something not clicking here for me, but we will continue. The next date is Frank and Moomin and Sydney. I like Sydney, but Sydney gives me some fake vibes. Anyhow, so interestingly, Frank's ex, Leah, is a Caucasian lady. She is pretty, and she seems very comfortable with him. I feel like they may have been friends for a long time, or at least had a lot of interaction with each other. She doesn't seem intimidated by the other two ladies. She does not seem as though she is missing anything. She just seems like if they're really great friends, and I'm happy for Frank that he has somebody like that in his life. So both ladies are great. Moment looks very beautiful and regal in her dress. I think it's a light, it's like a periwinkle color dress, and Sydney is in red. You know, Sydney dresses well, and she has a body to go with everything that she decides to put on. So they look good. But then Sydney comes and she rolls out a phone, child, with all these questions and thing on it. And she started grilling Frank. And Frank is like, "Oh my God, you did not know me already. I thought you already knew me enough, whatever." But it turned out to be a really interesting and fun conversations. The ladies apparently are all earth signs, so they had similar mannerisms. So I guess Frank does have a type, and yeah, so they seemed to handle each other well. Moomin said she noticed how well Frank and Sydney got along. She saw the interactions between them, but she was not worried. She would be a queen on her throne and wait to see what happens. And that's the first time I saw her react so maturely to anything. So I have to congratulate her on that. But yeah, the Leah was very transparent. She asked great questions. The ladies had a great time. And at the end of the night, when Leah had to give Frank feedback, she said that the truth is both women were good for him. It depended on what he wanted. So if he knew what he wanted versus what he needs, it would be easy to select. So Moomin is the one looking for stability. She's going to want a family quickly. She's going to want to settle down and all of that. Sydney does want to be married, but she's not so interested in having kids right away. And she is saying, well, on that date, she said she's not interested to have kids right away. And then she is more, about them being together, having fun, enjoying each other's company. So if Frank wants somebody who's out on the scenes with him, is Sydney. If he wants somebody who can help him hustle and build the business that he's building, more than likely it'll be Moomin. So he had to choose. It depends on what he wanted. He had options depending on what he wanted. So I thought that was really good for him, right? So yeah, that was that. Then we had a date with Sabrina, Moomin, Walter invited both ladies, and his ex. Now I can't remember the ex's name, but let me tell you something. Will Parker, y'all wrong, all you real wrong to be lying on public TV like that, because I do not believe at all that this lady is Walter X. Nothing about that lady look like somebody that Walter would be interested in. I am not knocking the sister. She's a beautiful woman, but her style and her behavior and her look is not consistent with anybody that I would think Walter would be with. She was she was flighty. She had nails, like long nails, like Edward Scissorhands nails, long nails, long nails. Oh my God. Her hair was crazy. Her suit was crazy, like a full red crazy suit, and her eyelashes seemed like if they were falling off. So I don't know what was happening here. And the whole look, you know what I feel? I think Walter may have hired like his cousin or something to just come and hold space for him. Maybe Walter never really got serious with anybody since his wife, which he said in the confessional. Like he said, he's been pretty wild since his wife died. He never really settled down. So maybe there was nobody to bring. And Walter asked his cousin to fill him because it just did not make any sense, her being his ex. Nonetheless, she did ask a question. She did have good rapport. She seemed to be somebody who knew him well. So maybe it was his girlfriend, but not his ex. So she was able to, field the questions appropriately. Anyhow, Miss Sabrina shows up. Sabrina didn't know that the lady was going to be there. And she started asking her about, what she feels about Walter and whatnot. And Sabrina quickly shut her down. Sabrina was not in a good mood or something was going on. She shut it down. She's like, well, I don't need to ask anybody's opinion about Walter. If I need to find out something about him, I will go to him directly. And yeah, I don't need anybody else to vet him for me, because I believe he would tell me whatever I need to know. That's what she said. Right? Then Moomin shows up and she looks great. She's wearing red this time. You can see the great chemistry between her and Walter. And as soon as she shows up, Sabrina is like, well, oh my gosh, I have a styling gig. I have to go. So Sabrina exits on stage left. She is not going to be in the middle of all that drama. Moomin and Walter continued having conversation. The girlfriend asked some questions. She even brought up the fact that Moomin said she's practicing abstinence. And we all know that Walter ain't know nothing about. He didn't even know how to spell abstinence. Walter ain't had no business about him. He don't interested in that. So I thought it was a good question, because Moomin seems to be going hard for Walter. And she's like, well, no. Moomin said she is sure that she wants to be waiting until marriage before she gets involved with anybody again in any form of intimacy. Walter's face is like, oh girl, hell no. And but she says what she says, and then she says she has something else and she needs to leave as well. So they both kind of run out on Walter. I don't know what's going on there. Anyhow, nonetheless, he and his girlfriend continue having this conversation about the two ladies, and she gave some good feedback. She's like, she thinks that Sabrina is quick-tempered, and while she is a great person to look at and probably had a conversation, she looks like she would snap quickly, like get angry quickly, and all of that. So he needs to watch that. She said that Moomin, it seems to be a better fit for him, because she is going to protect him, like stand with him a lot more than Sabrina might just be like, I don't have time for this, and cut and go out, which you might find with more mature women tend to be less tolerant of the BS. So if he comes around with the BS, Sabrina will be like, look, I have a great life on my own, bye. Whereas women might sit and try for them to work it out. So I understood the wisdom in that. I have to say I agree. And she also said she doesn't think women really wants to do this abstinence thing until marriage, but she wants to wait until she has somebody who is marriage minded. And there's a difference apparently, because I've heard people having these conversations. It's like when some people say they're waiting on marriage, it's not necessarily until they want to be married, but until they're in a relationship with somebody who has a clear understanding that they are going to be together exclusive, and not you dating and we dating and this person dating you and me dating together. None of that BS. But when they are solid and exclusive, then they can move to the next stage, and I understand and respect that. Right, so that was Walter and Sabrina and Moomin. The next day takes us to Donta, Shiloh, and Zadia. Oh gosh, Zadia been behaving really kind of erratic since last episode, or even the episode before that, last episode. Angry about everything. So anyhow, Donta introduces them to his ex. She is gorgeous, naturally beautiful, barely any makeup on, but just so pretty, and beautiful eyes and everything. And Zadia starts freaking out because she didn't expect her to be there. And Zadia's like, who else is gonna be here? I need some more tequila. I'm like, girl, calm down. Zadia's coming off now a little immature, to be honest. But anyhow, the ex says that she thinks Donta has matured a lot. He's become a lot more responsible. I am really curious as to why he didn't bring one of his children's moms, because he has 3 of them. Although I could understand if he doesn't want his kids involved in any of this whole screening thing, because when you hit TV, national TV, everybody knows your business. So maybe that may have been the thinking behind not having one of the ladies come on the show, and I would respect that. But She ended up telling him that at this point of her life, if she wasn't his ex, she would have dated him. So he must have come quite a long way for her to be able to say that. Or she is stuck on Donta because, like I said, Donta is a ladies' man, and you can see she probably still hooked on him. But she said he's changed. He changed. Whatever. I don't buy it, but anyhow. Shiloh asked some good questions. She asked most of the questions. Shiloh, like I said, is really good with her emotions, and she's able to draw people out of their shells. So she was able to ask the ex, and she got good information about him, and I think he appreciated that. Zadia asked questions, some of them kind of negative, because she's like, well, what dirt do you have on him? Like, what are the things that that we should flag, which is a reasonable question, I guess. But at the end of the day, the ex said if she had to choose between the two for him, she would choose Shiloh, because Shiloh was looking at him from a positive light instead of Zadia going for the negative things about him. That makes sense, but at the same time, you could be toxic positivity is a thing, and I feel like Shiloh is positivity, and when you get down to it, everybody has a dark side. So wouldn't you be interested in knowing what it is, or a little bit about them, getting some kind of insight so you can help to navigate around it? I don't know if it's very authentic, but I do not feel that it's very authentic, but that's Shiloh's stance on it. And Donta said he agreed. He realized that Zadia was a bit negative when she was asking him these questions. So that is that. Shiloh is really good at getting these guys comfortable. Anyhow, Naheem introduces his ex to Zadia. His ex is another wonderful, like, not wonderful because I don't know her personally, but beautiful. Like, she has nice long hair, good skin, dimples, real pretty lady. And she is a no BS lady as well. So she's like, why you like her? You like her because she has a big bottom? You like her because she... So she knows him. She knows his habits. Okay, she knows his habits. So they end up talking. She gives some dirt on him voluntarily. She says that Naeem does not like to cuddle. It's a no. It's a no, bro. And then she said he's picky and guarded. And if you looked at the way he dated, you would see that that is absolutely the case. And sometimes the guardedness comes off as rude, comes off as indifference, comes off as though they're not interested, but they really are, but they're just not able to articulate it. Unfortunately, a lot of guys who are really highly intelligent are also emotionally unavailable, and that sucks for them and for the people who are interested in them. But that's a whole other conversation. I believe that we need to get some relationship coaches on the channel for the podcast, for the podcast episodes on relationships. So if you guys are interested, or if you know of a great relationship coach I can interview so that we can understand the mechanisms of the male brain and how they see love, please be sure to send me a message. You can message me on Instagram. It's 5 years to 40, or you can just leave a comment in the bottom of this episode so that I can reach up with these, connect with these relationship coaches. And so for 2022, we know exactly what we're doing, because we have the behind the scenes workings of these men's minds. I think that's really important for us single sisters, however many of us that's listening right now that's single. We need to understand these guys. Okay. So if you all know anybody, a relationship coach, especially if it's a relationship coach within the Caribbean region, please leave a comment, or you can message me, and I will be happy to interview them to get an episode up to help all of us. Okay. Right. So I digress. So when Zadia leaves, Naeem's ex says that she thinks Zadia sees Naeem as a come up because he's driven and he works hard. She doesn't think that... She didn't say it in so many words, but she didn't endorse Zadia at all. So that should be very interesting to see how Naeem looks at it going forward. Then I was thinking we would go straight back to the gentleman's lounge. Guess what happens? They pop on the screen Phil and Sydney going on a date. Now, first of all, Will Parker. I don't think, Mr. Will Parker, it is the time of day for us to be talking about no new hookups and no new dates. And y'all are punking out Phil. I don't like it. Phil was a sweetheart, came with his heart on his sleeve and his heart broken, and he wanted to find me love. And y'all here pimping him out with all these women. I don't think it's right. And I didn't think that the Sydney and Phil date was necessary at all. But y'all want to make a good guy into a bad guy. And I don't appreciate it at all. I don't appreciate it at all, Mr. Will Parker. I love the show. I love what you're doing for Black Love. But please stop it. Stop pimping Phil out. Stop it. Anyhow, that was my rant. Phil says he has a weird connection that came out of nowhere with Sydney. And again, it feels like a producer told him to say that because that is some BS. Phil, stop it. Stop playing along. They had a good date. They were, the thing is, Sydney is very good with feminine wiles. She understands men. So she is able to entice men. So I think that's what happened with Phil. She was able to entice him. Anyhow, so they seem to get along really well, and we'll see where that goes. I don't understand it. I don't think it makes any sense, but we'll see how that goes. After that, yes, we are back with the gentlemen all in the men's lounge. They talk about the ladies a lot. Walter says that Sabrina and Moomin is now 1A and 1B. Moomin has moved all the way up. Sabrina was the first number one, but now Moomin is all the way up there. I was like, that was quick. Naeem, well, he's Smith and Zadia. The guys seem to know something more than they're saying. Maybe Zadia and Donta has something bigger than what we see on screen. Because there's a lot of things that you don't see on screen. Like how Aisha is not here, right? Okay. So Naeem is good with Zadia. Donta did not even speak about Shiloh. Well, on screen. Did not even speak about Zadia. He speaks about Aisha. He said he and Aisha get along really well. And things are going along with them really well. So Aisha is still in the game because he and she have a real connection. I don't understand. It's confusing for me. But we are continuing to watch because we have to see how all this thing going to play out. So that means next weekend, Donta is going in with 3 ladies. And he's going in with Aisha, Zadia, and Shiloh. Make it make sense, all you. Make it make sense. So, Anyhow. So Cornelius, we know Cornelius with Camille. Forget that. Uncle Nephew Tommy is even asking, like, you're not seeing any signs, like you don't find they ignoring some of the signs that Camille may not be the right person. He's like, oh, am I ignoring the signs? Whatever. Anyhow, so the guys make a rule that no, Camille is not going to come up as a part of elimination, which I find unfair, but it's their show. So anyhow, it comes down to the 2 ladies at the bottom, Sabrina and understandably Tatia. Tatia basically self-eliminated when she acted so uptight at the last elimination, right? At the date with she and Phil and Shiloh and his ex. So Sabrina was told by Frank that she would be given another chance, but Sabrina didn't take it easy at all. Sabrina was like full of attitude. She was giving him I to the back answer. She like, look, she wasn't having it. She tell him, like, she reached out to these guys and nobody reached out to her, and it's elimination week and none of the guys reached out to me, and I don't know. So she was like, I'm like, okay, so things are not so rosy with Madame Sabrina. She wasn't happy. So they had that. But anyhow, she is going to be there in the next episode. And then Phil said that he wanted to be the one who told Tasia that she was not going to be making it going forward. So Phil told Tasia she thinks she's the realest one. They had a really good conversation. It was a beautiful exit. She handled herself gracefully, as she normally does. It's just this, I think that energy is everything, and she does not she may not have been able to get along with Shiloh well, and it showed up really badly in the dates with she and Phil. So yeah, that was how she exited gracefully. Although this week on Instagram, sis had her Instagram page just lit up. She had her pictures of her partying, videos of her partying, videos with her in her lingerie, child, in front of a mirror, child, everything out here. I'm like, okay, was it a real breakup? What was going on? I thought it was just a show. Anyhow, we'll continue. We'll see. Next week, they're going to be in their resort. Like, this is the episode where they get together and go to a like a resort or go on a vacation weekend. So they're going to be doing that next week, please the Lord. And it's supposed to have like the most amount of drama for the entire season. That episode is where we saw the clip, in the beginning when they were doing the trails. We saw Aisha and Zadia fighting and quarreling and don't try me, I'm the realist, don't fake it, real, whatever they were saying. They were having a big quarrel. This is the episode that we're gonna see it. I'm pretty sure they're gonna leave it to the end of the episode, but anyhow, this is gonna be it, guys. So we have to be tuned in to see how it all plays out. And I don't know. I feel like if Naeem is not careful, he might be going home next week, because Zadia is the only woman he's connecting with, and Zadia has more than one connection. So we'll see how that goes. Anyhow, guys, it's always wonderful sitting and chit-chatting with all you and talking and doing this little review. And if you're interested, if you are enjoying it, please be sure to like, to subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. Let me know your thoughts, because it helps me to know that, hey, I'm providing some value, or you're enjoying the conversation. All right, so guys, have a great week. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other and keep doing the most. Good night. Bye.